It's not just you. And no, you're not going crazy. Lately, there's this crushing, unspoken feeling that time is slipping through your fingers like sand. You blink, and it's already night. You close your eyes on Sunday, and somehow, it's Friday again. You can't even remember what you did yesterday. Not because your memory is failing, but because the days feel like a blur. And deep down, there's this silent panic growing in your chest. Why does it feel like everything is moving too fast? It's as if the world is spinning out of rhythm. You wake up tired. You go through the motions like a ghost, watching life happen around you, but not really in it. And even when you try to slow down, to breathe, something inside keeps whispering that you're running out of time. But you don't know what time is running out for. Most people will tell you it's stress, that it's just age, that life is more hectic now. But you know there's something deeper going on. Because it's not just your schedule that feels warped. It's the entire fabric of time itself. It's like we're all caught in a fast-forward loop, and no one can find the remote. This isn't a psychological trick. It's not just perception. It's spiritual. What you're experiencing is the symptom of something few are brave enough to talk about. The collapse of a system that once dictated everything. Your routine, your expectations, your faith in what's real. The truth is, time isn't just passing faster. The illusion that held time together is cracking. And when that illusion breaks, it feels like your reality is dissolving with it. Think about this. You've probably found yourself asking, where did this year go? And not once, but over and over. And not just this year, but the last. And maybe the one before that. That's not a coincidence. It's not a glitch in your personal calendar. It's a global shift. People across the world are waking up in confusion. The old timelines no longer make sense. The old structures of control, of productivity, of certainty, they're eroding. The promises of next year will be better, or just wait until the weekend, are starting to feel hollow because something inside of you already knows. The system that sold you those promises is dying. But here's what most don't realize. When a structure dies, it doesn't disappear quietly. It fights, it speeds up, it pulls you deeper into chaos to distract you from the fact that it's falling apart. That's why everything feels so accelerated. That's why you can't catch your breath. That's why you feel like you're running but never arriving. You're not failing. You're waking up. You're beginning to notice that there's something off in this reality. Something behind the curtain that doesn't want you to look too closely. Something that's trying to bury you under endless notifications, meaningless goals, and emotional fatigue. And while the world tells you to keep moving, to be productive, to chase the next milestone, your spirit is starting to whisper something else. Slow down. Something's wrong. That whisper? That ache in your chest when you stare at the ceiling at night? That's your soul recognizing the collapse of the lie it was forced to believe. It's the lie that time is linear, that progress is external, that success is measured by how much you do, not how deeply you see. And here's a truth that will shake you. The more you wake up, the less time makes sense. Because time was never just a measurement, it was a cage. A cage wrapped in convenience, coated in routine, and worshipped like a god. But it was designed to keep you asleep, to make sure you never questioned why your life always feels like it's speeding towards something you can't see, can't touch, can't name. Now the walls are cracking, and when they do, it creates a dissonance inside of you. You start feeling like you're out of sync with the world, because you are. But maybe that's not a bad thing. Maybe the fact that everything feels unnatural is the most natural thing your soul has experienced in years. Because as the illusion of time collapses, the truth begins to seep through. And the truth doesn't follow a schedule. It crashes into your 3 p.m. meeting. It whispers during your midnight scroll. It erupts while you're standing in line, wondering why you feel like crying for no reason. That's not random. That's the veil beginning to lift. And once you see it, you can't unsee. The question is, what's waiting on the other side? You start to notice the small cracks first, moments that don't add up, a conversation that feels like it already happened, a day that feels like it vanished, a strange sense that time is folding in on itself, like a loop that keeps tightening around you. You check the clock and swear only minutes passed, but it's been hours. You walk into a room and forget why. You reread a message that feels like déjà vu, and what used to be rare is now constant. There's a reason for this. Time, at least the version we've been trained to follow, isn't natural. It's artificial, constructed. A system designed not just to help us organize life, but to control it. Think about it. From the moment you're born, you're handed a script, milestone, school year, work hours, deadline, retirement, death, and you're expected to move through it like a machine. Tick, tock, next. But what if that rhythm never belonged to you? What if it was always a distraction? Because here's what they never told you. When your awareness rises, time loses its grip. It doesn't stop, but it unravels. And the more conscious you become of the deeper layers of reality, the less sense time makes. That's not a bug. That's the breakthrough. You begin to understand that the world you lived in, the one of 9-to-5s, weekend escapes, birthday reminders, and someday I'll get to it, wasn't built on truth. It was built on cycles meant to keep your soul on a leash. That leash is slipping. And when it does, your senses go into overdrive. That strange acceleration, that's not just time moving fast. It's your perception expanding faster than the illusion can keep up. The veil that once separated the seen from the unseen is weakening. And with it, all the structures it held in place, including the rigid concept of time, are falling apart. This is why you feel so emotionally raw. So many people are experiencing sudden waves of sadness, nostalgia, or fear, and they don't know why. They're triggered by memories that resurface out of nowhere. They're hit by a strange sense of loss for something they can't quite name. That's not coincidence. It's what happens when the artificial rhythm of time collapses and the truth starts rushing in. Time isn't just ticking forward, it's spiraling inward. You're being pulled back to everything you forgot, every moment you ignored, every part of you that was silenced to survive in a world obsessed with speed, productivity, and performance. And in the middle of this collapse, your soul starts to remember something ancient. There was a time when you felt time instead of measured it. Back when life was guided by seasons, not schedules. When people rose with the sun and slept with the stars. When there was space for reflection, intuition, and spiritual rhythm. But then came the clock. Then came the calendar. Then came the rush. And now, as the system that fed that rush starts to fall apart, you're being called to unlearn it all. This is why time feels off. It's not you. It's the breakdown of a global trance. And in that breakdown, something sacred is emerging. You start to catch glimpses of it in the silence between distractions, in the moments when your mind quiet and your breath slows, in the hours that feel endless when you're in deep connection, and in the seconds that vanish when your soul is fully present. That's the real time, the eternal one, the time that doesn't rush you, but meets you, the time that doesn't exhaust you, but heals you. And once you touch it, even for a moment, you can't go back. Because you begin to see just how many of your thoughts, habits, fears, and decisions were built on borrowed time. You realize how long you've been waiting for a future that was never coming, because it was always now calling you home. The veil is lifting not just around you, but within you. And when that happens, it doesn't just change how you see time, it changes how you see everything. But here's the part most people miss. When the veil starts to lift, the illusion doesn't just fade quietly. It fights back, it distracts, it accelerates, so you don't notice what's really happening. But you've noticed, haven't you? You've noticed. And that awareness changes everything. Because once you recognize that something is wrong with the rhythm of the world, you start seeing the fractures everywhere. The lies aren't just in the media or the institution. They're in the very fabric of your daily life, in the pressure to be on all the time, in the fear of falling behind, in the exhaustion that no amount of sleep seems to fix. That's the effect of living in a system built on illusions. And now, one by one, those illusions are falling apart. You see it in the headlines that contradict each other, in leaders who once seemed powerful now scrambling for control, in promises of progress that never deliver peace. You feel it in your bones, the shift, the tremble, the unraveling. What was once hidden is being exposed. This isn't chaos. This is collapse, the collapse of a world that was never truly stable. A world that survived by keeping you asleep, distracted, divided, afraid. A world that convinced you to trade your inner compass for external validation, your truth for their version of normal. But normal is dying, and that death is messy. It's loud, it's fast, it's terrifying if you try to hold on. But if you let go, if you lean in, you begin to see what's underneath. The reality that was always there, waiting for you to wake up. It's why everything feels sped up right now, because the illusion doesn't want to die quietly. It throws distractions at you like confetti. Social media noise, manufactured outrage, endless to-do lists that lead nowhere. It wants you so busy trying to keep up that you don't stop long enough to realize there's nothing left to chase. Think about how often you feel behind on goal, on dream, on healing. But what if that feeling isn't failure? What if it's the residue of a system that's losing its grip? They taught you that time was a race, that every year should be an upgrade, that aging was a curse, that slowness was laziness, that rest was weakness. But now you're waking up to the truth. The race was rigged, the milestones were meaningless, the speed was a trap. And in this realization, something powerful begins to happen. You stop needing permission to pause. You stop comparing your pace to others. You stop measuring your life by someone else's clock, because you start to see the collapse not as a loss, but as a liberation. You begin to notice how much energy went into holding up a world that was never aligned with your soul. How many years were sacrificed at the altar of productivity? How many moments were lost in the fog of survival? And yet, you're still here, still breathing, still waking up. This collapse is not the end, it's the invitation. It's the moment where everything that's false starts falling away, and only the essential remains. Your relationships change. The people who resonated with your old rhythm may no longer feel close. You crave realness, depth, silence, space. You become allergic to small talk and half-truths. You no longer tolerate being pulled into someone else's chaos, because you've tasted something truer. You've glimpsed a version of life that doesn't rush you, doesn't judge you, doesn't crush you under the weight of expectations. A life that isn't about keeping up, but about waking up. This is what the collapse revealed, that most of what you feared losing was never real, and most of what you truly needed was buried under the noise. Now that the noise is cracking, you can finally hear something else, something ancient, something eternal, something that doesn't operate in minutes or deadlines or trends. But to truly receive it, you have to let go of what was. And that's the hardest part. Because even as the old world crumbled, there's a part of you that still clings to it, that still hopes things will go back to normal, that still feels guilt for slowing down, that still doubts your intuition when it whispers, "There's more than this." But what if that doubt is the final trick? What if that guilt is the last illusion to fall? That guilt, that lingering doubt, it's not yours. It was implanted, fed to you through years of conditioning. Every time you felt tired and were told to push through, every moment your intuition whispered pause and someone told you to hurry up, every instance you felt something was off, but silenced to fit in. The system that's collapsing now wasn't just external. It lived inside you. It trained you to distrust yourself. It taught you to obey the clock, not your body, to follow deadlines, not divine timing, to honor expectation, not energy. But your soul is remembering what your mind forgot. The spirit doesn't move by hours. It moves by alignment. And the more the illusion falls, the more you feel the pull to slow down, to listen, to feel again. But here's where things get confusing. As soon as you begin to reconnect with your true rhythm, the world around you seems to spin even faster. You notice how addicted people are to noise, how desperate they are to stay busy, how threatened they feel by stillness. It's like watching people run toward a burning building because they're afraid of the quiet outside. This is the paradox of awakening. As you step out of the chaos gets louder. Not because it's growing, but because you're finally still enough to hear it. And the temptation is real, to go back, to rejoin the noise, to silence your awareness so you can feel normal again. But deep down, you already know you've outgrown the old world, and that means You're now in between. You're no longer asleep, but not yet fully rooted in this new way of being. You're floating between timelines, the artificial one collapsing and the sacred one emerging. And in this space, time gets strained. Some days stretch endlessly, while others vanish in a flash. You might experience moments of intense clarity, followed by confusion. One minute you feel on top of the world, the next you feel lost. That's not regression, that's recalibration. Your nervous system is adjusting to the new frequency, because this new rhythm, the one guided by the soul, doesn't move in straight line. It moves in spiral, in wave, in pulses of insight and integration. It's not logical, it's elemental. And when you allow yourself to live in that flow, something extraordinary begins to happen. Synchronicities increase. You start thinking of someone, and they call. You see repeating numbers, 1111, 222, 555, as if the universe is tapping on your shoulder saying, keep going. And even though the world says you're doing less, you start feeling more connected, more present, more real. You begin to notice beauty in places you used to rush past, the way sunlight dances on your kitchen counter, the rhythm of your own breathing, the texture of silence when your phone isn't lighting up every 5 seconds. These aren't coincidences, they're reminders. Reminders that you were never meant to live in a system that punished presence, that your worth was never meant to be measured by how much you do, but by how deeply you exist. And yet, the fear still lingers, doesn't it? That if you fully surrender to this new pace, you'll be left behind. That if you stop striving, you'll fall apart. That if you disconnect from the matrix, no one will understand you. But what if the opposite is true? What if slowing down is the only way to catch up with your soul? What if falling apart is exactly what sets you free? What if being misunderstood by the world means you're finally becoming aligned with something greater? You weren't created to chase time. You were created to transcend it. That's why the collapse feels personal, because it is. It's not just the world that's being stripped of its illusion. It's you, the false self, the conditioned self, the version of you that was built for survival, not truth. And as those layers fall away, you may feel exposed, tender, uncertain. But that's how new skin grows. That's how truth breathes. You don't need to know what comes next. You just need to stay open, to trust what you feel in your bone, even if you can't explain it yet. Because as you shift your relationship with time, you're shifting your relationship with life itself. And that means something sacred is getting ready to emerge from the ashes. Something sacred is emerging, but it won't look the way you thought it would. You might have expected clarity to arrive in a beam of light, or purpose to land in your lap like a divine download. But real awakening isn't cinematic. It's quiet. It's subtle. It creeps in through your confusion and rises from your emptiness. It's the way you suddenly feel the urge to walk away from people you've known for years. It's the way you no longer relate to your old goals. It's the way you wake up in the middle of the night with a strange mix of fear and peace, as if some part of you is dying and another part is being born. You begin to sense that time itself isn't ending, but your obedience to it is. And that changes everything. Because when you no longer worship time, you stop fearing it. You stop being a servant to deadlines, milestones, and aging. You stop rushing toward a future you've been told will fix you. Instead, you turn inward. You learn to listen, to wait, to be. And in this sacred pause, something else becomes visible. Something that was always hidden beneath the noise. The divine intelligence woven into your reality. There's a reason the veil is falling now. It's not random. It's not accidental. It's intentional. Humanity is at a tipping point. The spiritual pressure has been building for decades, but now it's bursting. We're no longer able to live in a fractured way without deep consequences. The illusion is too thin. The cost is too high. And so, the veil that once protected the illusion is being torn away. Not to destroy you, but to invite you back to the truth. That you are not a machine. That your soul is older than this world. That you came here not just to survive, but to remember. Remember what? That you were never meant to fit inside a system built on fear, lack, and urgency. That you carry within you a rhythm more ancient than any clock. The pulse of the divine. that this whole collapse isn't punishment, it's realignment, a reorientation toward what truly matters: love, presence, purpose, spirit, connection, intuition, inner knowing, silence. The very things the modern world pushed to the margin, they are now returning to the center. And this return doesn't always feel like a blessing. Sometimes it feels like breaking, because to live in alignment with the eternal, you must first grieve the artificial. You must let go of the version of yourself that was created for a world that no longer exists. This is the morning you feel when you scroll through old photos and realize you don't even recognize the person smiling back. This is the ache when familiar places no longer feel like home. This is the disorientation when your old life starts to feel like someone else's story. But this grief is sacred. It's the price of becoming real. Because when the veil falls, nothing false can stay. Not the mask you wore to please others, not the beliefs you inherited without question, not the life plan that was never truly yours. All of it must dissolve to make space for something truer. And in that space, a deeper kind of time awakens, one that doesn't tick, but calls. It doesn't pull you forward in panic. It invites you inward in peace. It doesn't punish you for moving slowly. It rewards you for listening deeply. This time is not measured in hours or years. It's measured in alignment, moments that feel timeless, conversations that stretch your soul, insights that arrive like thunder, encounters that shake your foundation in the best possible way. These are signs you're now living from the inside out, no longer seduced by the outer race. And from this place, you start to see things differently. You look around and realize how many people are still running, not toward anything real, but away from the emptiness they're too afraid to feel. You begin to see the systems as they are: desperate, noisy, crumbling. You feel compassion, not judgment. You understand. You were there too, but now you've stopped running. Now, you stand still in the eye of the storm, and in that stillness, you feel something profound. You are safe. You are supported. You are exactly where you're meant to be, because the time isn't flying. The mask is falling, and what's behind it is not chaos. It's clarity. The kind of clarity that doesn't scream, the kind that whispers, the kind that waits for you in silence when you finally decide to stop measuring your life by minutes and start living it in presence. You don't need to rush anymore. You don't need to chase. You don't need to earn what's already inside you. The veil has fallen, and now, so can you. Into truth, into soul, into real time. Thank you for walking through this revelation with me. If you felt something awaken inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share your experience in the comments and let others know they're not alone in this unfolding. And before you go, there's something waiting for you in the next video, something that will take this awakening even deeper. Click it. Your spirit already knows.